Thank you all for joining me this evening. I'm excited to share with you the culmination of our assessment and curriculum team meetings in hopes of seeking approval for intervention expenses that effectively address our strengths and weaknesses in the areas of instruction, curriculum, and assessment. We've met recently to discuss the updates to our district and individual assessment plans. These came about as a result of the yearly release of scorecards for 2018-19. As you're well aware, the middle school score fell by approximately 1.8 points due to declining state test scores, putting us in a dire situation for this school year and next. Our goals for the next few minutes are to outline testing data provided by the state and bring your attention to some interventions and strategies to increase our scores, as well as provide you with the budget. In the graph here, you see the percentage of students tested in 6th grade who demonstrated proficiency or above, or just under 15% of the total 207 students. This number is not what we had hoped. However, we have seen a tremendous amount of teacher turnover in our upper elementary and in 6th grade, believing that this factor plays a role in our student performance. Our 7th grade students demonstrated the highest percentage of proficiency in ELA among our middle schoolers. Of the 214 students tested, 17.4% were proficient or advanced. Topics such as research, sourcing, and citations are classified as our relative weaknesses. We will look at the implications of that data at a later date. Slightly more than 14% of our 8th grade students tested at proficient or advanced on the M-STEP test. We showed growth in areas such as inferencing and revising a text. Our approach for the next testing session is to focus on the relative weaknesses such as language and grammar standards, analyzing informational text, and determining the meaning of words using context. As you can see from above, more of our students met the benchmark for evidence-based reading and writing than math, with 24% of our 8th grade students meeting the benchmark for evidence-based reading and writing. We recommend looking to implement several interventions to ensure students improve these scores from November to April, and then again from 8th grade to 9th grade. The intervention specifics will be outlined in a moment. We are confident we can closely align standardized test prep with our mission of college and career readiness. Now that we've seen the data, let's look at these interventions, and which will be most effective for our students. One recommendation that would benefit 6th and 7th graders is the introduction of a pilot program called ExactPath, an offshoot of our existing online platform, Study Island. Through ExactPath, students will have an account tied directly to assessment scores for NWEA map testing and use the target analysis from previous M-STEP data. CPA would see an initial cost of approximately $6,500 for this pilot program that can come from the Title I fund. If this program is successful and yields proficiency rates that are higher for 6th and 7th graders, we would increase the number of students with accounts. The only other cost incurred would be minimal, less than $1,000, as most of the ExactPath training is covered by our current training account. Several teachers would need to attend facilitator training at $250 per instructor. One of the steps we took in planning for increased proficiency was to identify students close to achieving proficiency in the area of ELA. These students would be invited to participate in a 4-session academic camp to improve literacy skills. Typically, 90 students per grade attend each camp. Funding for this program comes from Title I, which pays the stipend to teachers of $30 an hour for a total of 7 teachers per Saturday, coming to a total of $3,360. The materials we already own, so we do not need to pay additional costs. The only other cost is to provide breakfast and lunch to students. Food comes from the grant we received through Title IV, each week costing approximately $500 for a total of $2,000 for the duration of the program. Lastly, we need to provide additional support to our 8th graders. In order to maximize the growth potential of students, we've decided to partner with Exam Experts, a test prep company. On average, students who participate in this 4-week program increase their PSAT scores by 150 points. Each week during this 8th grade classes, representatives from Exam Experts work with ELA instructors to administer practice tests while going over various test-taking strategies. The company provides the manpower to facilitate the sessions, printed copies of the materials, and a debrief after each session with our staff. Based on this data that's been presented, it's my recommendation to implement 3 major interventions, which include purchasing ExactPath accounts for our students, implementing 4-session test prep camps where we focus on ELA standards, and to seek a contract for our 8th grade student to participate in Exam Experts PSAT test prep. In total, these costs from Title I would be $14,660, and from grant funds of Title IV, we would spend approximately $2,000. These recommendations have been thoroughly planned and costs are all inclusive, with the exception of the possibility for PD for staff for ExactPath. There is a demonstrated need for a reading specialist to work with targeted students. The salary for the reading specialist to be hired and trained prior to the start of the 2020-2021 school year is $54,500, putting our total intervention costs at approximately $71,160. In my opinion, these costs are far outweighed by the benefits of higher student outcomes, increased proficiency on tests, as well as the increase in teacher effectiveness, which ties directly to student achievement. We ask you take these numbers into consideration and accept these recommendations, better preparing our students for the next test prep session. Thank you for your time.